What's going on, guys? Incarnator here with my brand new review of Elite Dangerous. So without further ado, let's dive into the beautiful world of Elite Dangerous. Elite Dangerous isn't the type of a space sim game you would expect it to be. You could think of it as a weird mix between EVE Online and No Man's Sky. Even though the game world isn't as nearly player dependent as in EVE Online, or the biodiversity isn't as diverse as in No Man's Sky, but it has its own charm, and I assure you it's quite an impressive one. Obviously, the first thing to draw your attention will be the graphics and audio. For a 6-year-old game, graphics are completely stunning. Even though the video can't fully capture the beauty of the game world, you still can see that the game is extremely attractive with all its diverse stars, planets and other cosmic bodies. Level of detailing is amazing, and it doesn't make you think for a single second of a world as a fake one. Immersion is absolutely incredible. Now that we have ended praising the graphics, time to talk about audio. But there's actually not much to talk about, except that you could just sit in a cockpit for hours and hours and listen to the engine noises or the busy spaceport. The music keeps up with the quality of the sound as a whole. It's on place and it's authentic. Just take a listen.
Warning, capital class signature detected. Warning, capital class signature detected.
Now the gameplay. In this game you're pretty much free to do whatever you want to. You want to deliver 200 tons of beer through the huge, and when I say huge I mean it, galaxy while being chased by space pirates? Sure, here's your Uber Eats backpack for your spaceship. Maybe you're feeling like seeking and mining space trucks, competing with other miners just like you. Sure, just go craft the diamond mining pickaxe and go on to the space mine, but prepare for using third-party tools, since you somehow will need to find the best hotspots for these sweet diamonds and pienites. Or perhaps you think that mining is boring and delivering cosmic cargo is for losers. Of course, you can become a space cowboy and go bounty hunting. Or you could become a space explorer and set off to a journey for the stars, discovering new star systems, since there's always something new to explore outside the bubble that colorful zone most of the players are in. You also can become a dealer of some sort, selling stuff on the black market or buying cheap, selling high. And you can do it all not just by yourself, but with your friends too, since there's a relatively new feature they added called multi-crew ships. So you're basically free to do whatever your heart desires. Damn, you can even buy your own massive fleet carrier. But be advised that any sort of activity will require its own space fit. But don't worry, there's a tool for that too. The only barrier between you and the almost never-ending space is money, fuel, and controls. First thing first, the controls. Since many people think of them as a con, I decided to break them down. They may seem complicated at first, but they really aren't. If you think of this game as a fully immersive space sim, not a simple 2D platformer, the controls are pretty sparing for the player and they are intuitive. Let's be honest, you probably won't use any more keys than they teach you at the tutorial. Well, besides how to land manually, how to pick up cargo, what modules to use and how to install them, and so on and so on. But the understanding comes with experience, and the experience comes with failures. Anyway, once you get a hang of the controls, it'll come with a mix of delightment, relief, and proudness. You'll really start thinking that you're controlling a giant or not so giant spacecraft, not a golf cart. Not so many games can fully deliver that feeling, I would say. Now that we have talked about the controls and can set off to our first journey, we can talk about things that you should keep track on while in open space. First off, as I mentioned earlier, there's people who like exploring stuff, but since less than 90% of the galaxy is inhabited, there's not much space stations to refuel at. So there's a thing called fuel scope, which allows you to pump fuel from the starts, if you get close enough. But don't get too close, or you'll get overheated, so you could take heat damage. But don't worry, since you can get a heatsink, which will basically cool your ship a little when you tell it to. Well, if you're many light years away from civilization and not close to a star, you can call the fuel rats, who will rescue you if you're out of fuel almost anywhere. Well, talking about people who save other people, you can't say Elite Dangerous without Dangerous. Griffin. You'll get griefed a lot in open play, promise me. There always will be some bastard who will scan your ship halfway back to the station and try to kill you and take all your goods to themselves. Or there's people who hunt down good guys like fuel rats, but oh boy, don't think that there's no people who will hunt you down if you're just minding your own business, minding space trucks, or just wandering the universe. Most of the griefers just kill for fun or to increase their combat rank, but luckily you always can switch to solo play, where there are no other players but you. Even though there won't be other players, you still can and will be disturbed by NPCs. But as for me, a player who spent almost all of their hours in open mode, I'll suggest you do it too, since taking risks and preparing for your journey, just like in Death Stranding, is also an important part of the experience. After all, you know what they say, no pain, no gain. The spacecraft themselves. The immense amount of detail given to the ships is truly astonishing. Not like all the other swanky pompous futuristic sci-fi looking spacecrafts, but more like an actual realistically engineered ships, like an Even Line or Star Citizen. Also, it would be foolish of me not to mention the Horizons Pass. And to be fair, I haven't got my hands on it just yet, so don't blame me that much if I get anything wrong. The main thing it brings is the planetary landings. With Horizons, you'll be able to land on planets, mine there with your cosmic rover, and land on planetary bases, which is no less than really cool, but since there's not much life to the planets besides a few plants and space mushrooms, it'll probably outlast itself pretty fast. But to be even more fair, planetary bases are sick, and they're honestly a lot cooler than just regular spaceports. There's also an all-new mission system and a game-changing loot, which is basically just a module crafting system, which is fairly cool too, but I personally don't think that the mechanic like this is completely relevant to a space sim game like Elite Dangerous. But it's my subjective opinion at the end, so you might like it or you might hate it, which is completely fine. You also can make a small personal fleet of your own, or just get yourself an NPC wingman who will help you out in harsh combat situations and who can potentially make a huge difference when it comes to space battle. Horizons also introduces a new ancient alien race, but I'll leave this spoilers up to you to explore. In conclusion, Elite Dangerous is a type of the game which keeps the tension and the interest of a player up to the end. Just when you start to think that you've discovered and explored everything in the galaxy, you suddenly discover a new milestone for you to reach. This could be anything from getting to the galaxy center, no grogs at there sadly, to getting into the solar system, seeing the Earth, and getting your own fleet carrier. At the end, whoever you are, wherever you are, whenever you are, there's always all kinds of stuff to do in Elite Dangerous. And by the way, this game is definitely one of the best VR games I've tried so far, if not the one. So if you always wanted a finished, polished space sim game, give it a go. There's always a refund button anyway.